It's time for the Josh Kirby on Sports Podcast.
On this edition of the Josh Kirby on Sports Podcast, NBA free agency is hopping. Will the Brooklyn Nets make the moves to make their team a different team? World Cup action. Team USA one win away from the World Cup for the second time in a row. All that and so much more. But before we begin, the Josh Kirby on Sports Podcast is sponsored by Route 11 Chips. Make sure you find a bag today in stores, Martin's, Food Lion, and Giant. Let's get this started.
Oh, indeed. I'm glad you connected. This is Dave Johnson, voice of the Washington Wizards. You have connected to the right place because you are listening to my man, Josh Kirby, on Sports Podcast.
Happy 4th of July, people. Yes, indeed, it is America's birthday. People are out all across this great nation celebrating with food, family, friends, fun. So I hope you are out there eating a hot dog or a hamburger, cooking on the grill, whatever you may be doing. I hope you are having a great 4th of July. And another piece of news, Stranger Things 3 dropped yet last night, or this morning, like 3 a.m. actually, so I'm excited for that as well. But let's get right into it. Before we begin, the Josh Kirby on Sports Podcast is part of the Mayo Please Podcast Network. Diving right in, I want to start by talking about some NBA free agency. And first on the list in my opinion, I want to start with my Wizards. Not a lot of moves have been made by them so far, but they managed to sign Isaiah Thomas to a one-year deal, former Boston Celtic. I'm really excited for this move because Isaiah Thomas, in my opinion, he's on the downfall of his career. Yeah, I mean, he's past his prime. You know, he's been flopping around multiple teams. And the Wizards, they need another point guard because who knows if John Wall is going to be healthy for this season, what's going to happen to Bradley Beal. But this is a very low-risk investment for the Washington Wizards, in my opinion. And they've been struggling last year, and hopefully this is another piece of the puzzle that the Wizards need to get back into the playoffs. You know, Ernie Grunfeld just getting fired last season, and their interim GM still don't have a new GM yet. But Isaiah Thomas, I'm excited to see what the Wizards can do with him. If they can manage him well, give him some good playing time out there on the court. I looked on the internet the other day, and he's projected to be a starter, which would be crazy. But it just depends, in my opinion, whether John Wall is going to make it back in time. But I think John Wall needs to be 100% healthy before he gets back onto the basketball court. You know, with all these other players like Kawhi, Kevin Durant in the finals, Klay Thompson, get all injuries. But Kevin Durant, a big example, the Warriors put him in before he was 100% ready. So, yeah, you know, I just want the Wizards to do the right thing here and make sure John Wall is 100% ready to go before he gets back on the basketball court. Other free agency action, Golden State signed Klay Thompson to a max deal, 5 years, $190 million. In my opinion, he's well worth the money, but he just tore his ACL in the finals. So I'm not sure what that means, if he's going to recover before next season. it's going to be a long road. ACL injuries, they're bad, and there's a lot of recovery time, and you're always landing on your feet and bending your knees all the time. So it's a great deal for Clay, but I was sort of concerned when I saw the deal because Klay Thompson, he's a beast, don't get me wrong, but he just tore his ACL. So I'm not really sure what Golden State is thinking, but I assume they think they're going to get him healthy for the start of next season. But once again, I don't want it to be like another Kevin Durant incident where they put him in before he's 100% healthy like we saw in the NBA Finals. And last piece of news I want to go over, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant both signing with the Brooklyn Nets. And the Nets, in my opinion, are going to be a different team next season with these two pieces. Kyrie coming from Boston to Brooklyn on a 4-year, $141 million deal. And Kevin Durant, a 4-year, $164 million deal. And once again, will Kevin Durant be ready for next season? He tore his Achilles. He wasn't 100% for the finals, as I mentioned earlier. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, Achilles, that could end your career because you're always jumping up and down, landing on your feet every single time. So it's a matter of if he will be 100% healthy, and will Kevin Durant be the same Kevin Durant we have seen on Golden State. In my opinion, if he gets healthy, yeah, the Brooklyn Nets are going to do great. But I don't want to, once again, I don't want to see him go back in too early. Like, he just signed this big deal with Brooklyn, and I don't want him to go back early getting ready for the first game of the season, and then he's not ready, because then he'll, maybe another injury. The moral of the story here is just make sure you're 100% ready, Kevin, because the Brooklyn Nets with these two moves, it's really great. And I think that they're going to have a big shot of moving up. Some stats for you on Brooklyn. Last season, they finished 6th in the Eastern Conference with a 42-40 record. And hopefully with the addition of those two guys, hopefully that can be a 3rd or a 2nd place finish, maybe 4th. I'm not saying they're going to make it to the playoffs. They still have some pieces from what I've seen they need to piece together. But, this team could be good in another 2, 3, 4 years. But it's going to be interesting to see for the Nets. So moving right along here from the NBA free agency to Women's World Cup. The World Cup is set. The United States facing the Netherlands at 11 o'clock a.m. Sunday morning. How the United States, Team USA, Team Women's, USA Soccer, their group stages, as you know, 13-0 to start it off to dominate Thailand, and then a 3-0 win against Chile, and then a 2-0 win against Sweden. So all shutouts in the group stage. Then moving on to the round of 16, 2-1 final against Spain. Then the quarterfinals, 2-1 against France. Then in the semifinals against England. And wow, Alex Morgan trolled England. She absolutely trolled England by sipping a cup of tea. And you know how that worked out for England in the Revolutionary War, but with the Boston Tea Party and whatever. But yeah, Team USA, they have a chance to make history here, winning 2 World Cup finals if they can win 2 World Cup finals in a row. 4 years ago, you had Carly Lloyd dominating with a half-field goal. You had the team all together, and this team looks pretty much the same. And I will be glued to my TV at 11 o'clock watching this World Cup final. And the Netherlands beat Sweden to make it to the World Cup final. So Sweden and England playing for the third place game for the World Cup. So, as patriotic as this week has been with 4th of July, this weekend, it's just going to top it off if USA can win the World Cup. So I'm excited, really excited to watch this game, and hopefully Team USA comes out with a win. Wrapping things up on this short podcast with some sad news. Los Angeles Angels pitcher Tyler Skaggs passed away a couple days ago, and just before a series with the Texas Rangers, and they actually canceled that first game due to that death. So very sad to see such a young pitcher, very talented, and he's just gone. So prayers out to the Los Angeles Angels organization and the family of Tyler Skaggs, and it's really sad to see. And the MLB took a huge hit. A lot of people sad. I know Patrick Corbin paid tribute to him of the Nationals by wearing his jersey number while he was pitching. Adam Eaton, I know he played with him. A lot of players I saw on Twitter and Instagram just mourning his loss, and it's very sad. So rest in peace, Tyler Skaggs. Rest in peace. Prayers out to the Angels organization. That's it for this short episode of the Josh Kirby on Sports podcast. As always, part of the Mayo Police Podcast Network, sponsored by Route 11 Chips. Make sure you find them in stores, Martin's Food Line and Giant. As always, you can catch us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on YouTube also, Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts. Search up the Josh Kirby on Sports podcast or the Mayo Please. Till next time, this is Josh Kirby signing off. We'll catch you next time. Peace out.